Welcome dear students to our second chapter in maths, which is parallel lines and transversals. So we'll begin this chapter by first understanding what you mean by parallel lines. I have drawn two lines over here, line M and line N. Now both those lines are present on the same plane, that is, both of them have been drawn on the same blackboard, on one single blackboard, which means that both the lines are on the same plane. Okay, and are these two lines joining each other or are they crossing over each other? No, they are not joining over each other or they are not crossing over each other at any point. So these two lines are not intersecting each other. So such lines which are drawn or which lie on the same plane and which do not intersect each other, which do not cross over each other, such lines are called as parallel lines. So over here I have drawn this first line and the second line, line M and line N. These two lines are parallel lines. If we have to write the definition for it, lines in the same plane that do not intersect each other are called parallel lines. Okay, so I want you to copy this down first. Now students, the symbol that we use to show the word parallel is like this. The symbol that we use is like this. We draw two lines next to each other, which means that this is the symbol for the word parallel. If we have to write this down in words, that line M is parallel to line N, how do you write it down? You will write it down like this. Line M is parallel to line N. Okay, so this is your symbol which is used to show the word parallel, and if you have to explain this diagram, you will write it as line M is parallel to line N. Okay, so please copy this down. Okay, now the next part of our lesson is transversal. You have already understood what are parallel lines. Now we will understand what do you mean by the word transversal. Okay, so a transversal is a line which cuts two other lines, two or more other lines in two distinct points. Okay, so here I have line L and line M. Now this line, which is line N, is crossing over, or it is cutting line L and line M in two distinct points. Okay, your line N is cutting line L at point A and it is cutting line M at point B. So this particular line is called as your transversal. Okay, so I'll write down the definition of a transversal. Okay, so if a line intersects two other lines in two distinct points, then that line is called as a transversal. So you have this line which is cutting two other lines in two distinct points. So this line is called as your transversal. Please copy down this. Okay, now I have drawn another transversal. I have drawn two lines over here. One is line PQ and one is line RS. And here there is a transversal AT which is crossing over these two lines at point M and point N. Now when we have drawn this diagram of a transversal, we see that there are a number of angles which are formed in this particular diagram. Okay, so now we will understand what are the different types of angles which are present in this particular diagram. The first type is called as corresponding angles. Corresponding means which are lying exactly in the same position. So if I have to look at corresponding angles in this particular diagram, if I look at this angle, angle AMP, this angle, and angle MNR, so this angle, the position of both these angles are same, both are lying in the same position. So these two angles are called as corresponding angles. So I'll write the first pair of corresponding angles over here, angle AMP and angle MNR. Then if we look at this angles which are lying on the other side over here, this angle over here and this angle over here, which is angle AMQ and angle MNS, both of them are lying in the same position, in the same type of a direction. So those two also are your corresponding angles. So that's angle AMQ and angle MNS. There are two more pairs of corresponding angles. If you look over here at this position over here, this angle and this angle over here. So that's angle PMN and angle RNT. So the third pair of corresponding angles are angle PMN and angle RNT. So this angle and this angle. And finally we move on to this side where we have this particular angle and this particular angle, which is angle QMN and angle SNT. Both of them are lying in the same position. So the fourth pair of corresponding angles over here is angle QMN and angle SNT. Okay, so whenever we draw a transversal, we get four pairs of corresponding angles. I'll just show you the pairs one by one. The first one over here, angle AMP and angle MNR. Then on the other side, angle AMQ and angle MNS. Then if we look at this angles, you've got angle PMN and angle RNT, and finally this two angles which are over here, which is angle QMN and angle SNT. So like this we have four pairs of corresponding angles which are present in a transversal. So please copy this down. I have drawn the same figure again, and the two lines over here, line PQ and line RS, and your transversal over here, which is your line AT, and the two distinct points where it is cutting the lines, point M and point N. So the next type of angles which are present in a transversal are called as interior angles. Interior means something which is inside. So if we have a look at this particular diagram, we see that this angle over here, angle PMN and angle MNR, this are present in the inner part of the diagram. Okay, it is somewhere inside. Okay, so this two pair of angles are called as interior angles. So the first pair of angles are angle PMN and the second part is angle MNR. Okay, so this angle and this angle, it is forming a kind of a box, a open box. Then if we look on the other side, you have angle QMN and angle MNS, this formation over here. this angle and then this angle. So the second pair of angle is angle QMN and angle MNS. So these are your two pairs of interior angles, angle PMN and angle MNR, and on this side you have angle QMN and angle MNS. So these are your interior angles. Please copy it down. Now the next pair of angles which are formed are called as alternate angles, and in this alternate angles you have two types of angles, which are your exterior alternate and interior alternate. Okay, so we have alternate angles, and in alternate angles we have two types. One is your exterior, which means outside, so exterior alternate angles, and interior alternate angles. Interior means inside. So let us see the position of those angles. Now when you are talking about exterior alternate angles, you have to find out the angles which are forming a Z formation. Okay, either this way Z or a this way Z formation, a proper Z formation or a inverted Z formation. So which are those angles? If you see correctly, this over here is forming a Z formation, angle PMN and angle MNS. So it's angle PMN and angle MNS. These angles are forming a Z formation. And if we have to find a inverted Z formation, if you look at the other side, this angle and this angle over here, so angle QMN, angle QMN and angle MNR. So this is giving us a inverted Z formation. Over here you get a proper Z formation over here. So angle PMN and angle MNS, and on the other side we get angle QMN and angle MNR. So these are your exterior alternate angles. Then we'll have a look at what is interior alternate angles. I'm sorry, I just made a mistake. Over here this should be your interior and this should be your exterior. Okay, so these are inside, so these are your interior alternate angles, and over here I will explain to you now what is your exterior alternate angles. Okay, so this Z formation and this inverted Z formation, both of them are inside your transversal. So these are your interior alternate angles. Exterior alternate angles means which are outside the particular figure. So if you have a look correctly, you have angle AMQ and angle TNS. This particular angle AMQ and TNS, both these angles are completely lying on the, you can say, on the outer side of the figure. So angle AMQ and angle TNS. Okay, these are your exterior alternate angles. So I'll just write it down, angle AMP and angle TNS. And if you look at this two angles over here, these are also on the outer side of the particular figure. So this over here, angle AMP and angle RNT. So I'll write that down, angle AMQ and angle RNT. So this one, this angle over here and this angle over here are your exterior alternate angles, and the other one over here is angle AMQ and angle SNT. These are your exterior alternate angles. Okay, so please copy this down. Okay, so we move on to the next part of the chapter, which is your first practice set for this chapter, practice set 2.1. I'm not writing down the entire question, I've drawn the figure. You have been given this figure and you're asked to write down which are the corresponding angles present over here and which are the interior alternate angles. Okay, so first we will start with the corresponding angles. So as I said, corresponding angles are the angles which are lying in the same position. So if we have a look over here, we have this angle over here and this angle over here. So we have angle P and I'll write it a little further, angle P and angle W. Then this angle over here, angle Q and angle X. So the second one over here, angle Q and small q, angle Q and angle X. Then if we look at the third pair over here, angle S and angle Z. Third pair, angle S and angle Z. And the fourth pair over here, angle R and angle Y. Angle R and angle Y. So these are your corresponding angles which are present in this particular diagram. Please copy it down. Next, you are asked to write down which are the interior alternate angles. Your interior alternate angles is your Z formation and the inverted Z formation angles. So over here we get a Z formation with this, angle S and angle X, angle S and angle Z. So that is your first pair, angle S and angle X, and your inverted Z, angle R and angle W, angle R and angle W, angle R and angle W. One Z formation over here and the other inverted Z formation over here. So that gives you your interior alternate angles. Please copy this down. We move on to the second question. Okay, so this is your next diagram. Instead of drawing the lines in this manner and having the transversal in this manner, it is just done in a alternate manner where your lines are in the up to down direction and your transversal is in the sleeping position. So if you are not able to understand the angles in this manner, you can change the position of your textbook, and you can look at your transversal in that manner. The first thing which is asked over here is to write down your interior alternate angles. Your interior alternate angles are your Z formation and the inverted Z formation. Okay, so over here if we look at it, if we have to change the position of it like that, you will find it over here like this. Okay, so it's forming like this Z, so that's angle C and angle E. And if you look at it from the other way, so it's forming something like this, inverted Z, which is angle B and angle H. Okay, please copy it down. Next, you are asked to write down all the pairs of corresponding angles, the angles which are lying in the same position. So we'll write down now all the corresponding angles over here. All the angles which are lying in the same position. So angle A and angle E. Then on this side, angle B and angle F. On the bottom side, angle D and angle H. And on this side, on the bottom side, angle C and angle G. Okay, so these are your corresponding angles. Please copy it down, and we have one last thing to be covered. The third thing that you have to find out is your interior angles. You remember I told you that your interior angles are what forms a box kind of a formation. So if we have a look over here, angle C and angle H, okay, both of them are kind of forming a box kind of a thing. So angle C and angle H, the first one angle C and angle H, and if we have a look on the other side, angle B and this angle E. So the other one is angle B and angle E. Okay, so these are your interior angles. With this, dear students, we will end the video for today. In your next part of the video, we will be learning about transversals, where your lines are also parallel. Okay, so till we continue and meet again in the next video, please stay safe, stay happy. Bye.